Hello everyone and welcome to Magicbricks webinar series. This is a platform for consumers to interact with industry experts. My name is Deepak Singh and I'm your moderator for today. The topic of this session is demand for premium housing in North Bangalore. I would like to introduce you today's guest, Anand Narayanan K.B, President Sales Marketing and CRM, Puravankara Group. Anand has been instrumental in developing and implementing disruptive strategic marketing and sales plans to achieve the larger corporate objectives for the organization's products and services. Anand has been associated with the real estate and banking industry for the last 13 years, both in India and overseas. He has worked in diverse areas across the residential real estate, as well as in consumer and institutional banking. I also welcome Neha Nagpal, Senior Journalist with Magicbricks. She has been in business for over a decade. Apart from real estate, she has also written about franchisee, retail, and outdoor media. Neha, over to you.
I welcome Mr. Narayanan on the Magicbricks webinar today. Mr. Narayanan, to start with, since you are developing in North Bangalore, I would like to ask you about what is the demand for luxury housing in North Bangalore? And who is buying? What is the profile of buyers there?
Well, thanks for having me over, Neha. North Bangalore for the last almost half a decade has been one of the top performing markets within Bangalore, primarily because of the stabilization of the airport link. While the airport story itself has been going on for about more than a decade, the market has stabilized with the airport links and the freeways coming in over the last 5 or 6 years. Ever since the arterial road has already seen significant price appreciations, and hence the demand pie is moving towards alternative airport link roads, like say for example Tanisandra Road, Hennur Road, and so on and so forth. And that's where the demand pie is. Because of strong connectivity, many of the business houses too are now re-looking at North Bangalore in terms of setting up their corporate bases there. So as the jobs move, the flock around the entire employee base also starts moving towards that market. So that market has been one of the top performing markets, low inventory hangover in those markets in Tanisandra and Hennur Road. So yes, it has been doing very well.
So when we talk about the profile of buyers, what is the age group which is buying in luxury in Bangalore?
Well, if you see a typical Puravankara buyer, he's 39 to 41, male, largely salaried, mid-level to senior level management. Surprisingly, Puravankara's customers are not necessarily from ITES. A significant part of our customer base are from engineering and manufacturing, then ITES of course, and then banking and so on and so forth. So that's the typical customer base. At least North Bangalore is more so a market for salaried mid-level to senior level management rather than the trading community. There are obviously trading community hubs in other parts of Bangalore, not so much in North Bangalore.
Okay, you are developing, what are the elements that make Palm Beach premium? What are the USPs of this project?
Yeah. Well, Palm Beach was launched a few years ago in North Bangalore and received some fantastic response from buyers across Bangalore. It's a one-of-its-kind project in India. In fact, the project actually recreates a man-made beach in a city like Bangalore, which is landlocked. It is actually recreating an artificial lagoon with white sandy beaches, a wave pool, snorkeling, hammocks around, palm trees around. It basically recreates an entire artificial beach, and there are apartments around this lagoon. So it's a first of its kind where you have a wave pool inside a residential project.
So what are you offering this at?
You mean prices?
Right, the price you are offering this at?
Well, there are 2-3 bedroom apartments and penthouses available in this project. The prices range from a per square foot price of close to about 5,750 rupees per square foot, and the typical landed price would be about anywhere between 85-90 lakhs to about 1.5 crore. The penthouses are a little more expensive, but that's where the bulk of the projects are, the bulk of the apartments are.
Right. So if we generally talk about the North Bangalore market, what is actually the cost of a luxury, average cost of a luxury apartment there? What is a luxury segment in Bangalore?
Well, I mean, luxury is now getting to be a much abused word with every tagging luxury to their products. I would actually say premium luxury typically in a Bangalore market hovers between the 80 lakhs to 2.5 crore kind of a segment, and the super luxury is typically about the 2.5 crores and above. That's the typical market. But the market which is liquid, which is seeing enough headroom available for price appreciations for those of the consumers who still not bought to come in and see price appreciations for their investments, as well as a good high quality living home. I think the ideal ticket size is about 75 lakhs to 1.5 crore, 2 crores. That's the market which is the sweet spot, and that's where we are seeing a lot of action, and that's where the consumers will also see a lot of action in terms of their investments doing well for themselves.
Right. So how does social infrastructure impact property sales in today's market?
Well, it has been an important constituent from the time Christ has come and gone. Social infrastructure is in fact very, very important, right from the Indus Valley civilization that my son reads about every day in the morning to the modern day times. Infrastructure is in fact a very, very important part. North Bangalore is seeing, like I said, alternative airport link roads coming into place, and that's where the action is in terms of the next 5-6 years. All of us know the airport road, the Bellary road, which is now stabilized. It's a great road. There are a few bottlenecks that are also trying to be unbottled by the government, local government. But the new development corridors are the alternate roads that are coming in. The alternate roads are also zigzagged by circular roads in Bangalore. As you know, Bangalore has spoke roads that goes from the center of the city to multiple directions, northwards, eastwards, southwards, and so on, like Bellary Road, Hennur Road, Kanakpura Road, Bannerghatta Road, Huffu Road, and so on. And there are also ring roads that are around, which connect all these spokes, the outer ring road, the peripheral ring road, the pipeline road. Pipeline road, for example, connects from the Mangalore port all the way to Bellary Road and so on. So these are roads that are very, very important, and North Bangalore is seeing a significant part of them. The peripheral ring road in the south has already been completed, which is called the Nice Ring Road. The other half in the north, activity has started picking up on the ground in terms of establishing that road. So that would see a far greater connectivity, where from the North Bangalore, say from a Hennur Road or from a Kanisandra or a Bellary, it wouldn't take much time to say go right down south to a Kanakpura Road or a Hosur Road in about 30 minutes on a freeway in which you can probably hit 80-85 kilometers per hour speeds.
Right. If you talk about, lately we have seen a lot of policy changes, Mr. Narayanan. So what has been the impact of policy changes on the premium market in Bangalore?
Well, all changes that have occurred in recent times are for the good. There have been some short-term disruptions, largely due to all constituents trying to understand what really the impact is, whether it is us, whether it is the buyer, whether it is vendors and partners. All of us are just trying to grapple in terms of what exactly are going to be the repercussions of these changes. We all do know that it is good in the long term. Some of the fantastic things that have happened in recent times, the RERA, for example, gives consumers a far greater confidence in choosing a developer who's registered himself. For larger, well-established players like ourselves and several of our peers, we feel the market will consolidate in the next 24 months' time, where some of the frivolous, not so serious players in the real estate market, who probably cause a lot of disruption, would eventually quit this trade and leave the business for only the serious players like ourselves. That's good for the industry. GST, for example, is stabilizing the entire tax regime. There is still a lot more work to be done in GST in terms of how the tax burden for the eventual buyer can be reduced, but I'm sure the government is working on that. So yes, for the next, a lot of good work has already been done. All the so-called evils of real estate that we all know of has substantially reduced. While it doesn't matter to players like us, the demonetization step has cleared out a lot of at least perceived bad notions about this industry. So, I mean, people like me are happy to now work in this industry and take a lot of pride in the profession that we do.
Are all your projects RERA compliant?
All projects which need to be compliant are compliant, which in fact means that if there's a project which is already completed and OC has been registered, they do not necessarily fall within the ambit of RERA. So they are exempt. All the other projects, yes, if they are not complete, they're still under construction, they all fall within RERA.
Okay. So if we talk about the demand, what sort of demand are you facing for luxury project, or has the demand really got picked up in Bangalore for this segment, specifically luxury segment?
Well, interestingly, I mean, I don't know how many of you will know. I mean, Puravankara has two brands, Puravankara and Provident. Puravankara is in the luxury end of the space, and Provident is in the value housing space, premium value housing space. While Puravankara was always a dominant sales mix in our portfolio, the last 2 years saw Provident's sales mix increasing substantially, meaning the amount of sales that Provident was contributing to the group became slightly larger than what it was, say, a few years ago. In the last 9 months, the trend is again coming back to normalcy, which means Puravankara sales have started picking up, and the sales mix has started becoming more healthier in favor of Puravankara. What that means to us is that the luxury housing space is coming back. We are seeing far more dominant sales behavior month on month. In the last 3 to 4 months, we've seen price realization stabilize and garner a little higher. Well, it's not something spectacular, but 3 to 4% kind of price realizations have moved up. Again, these are the trends that we are seeing. Luxury housing has stabilized and prices are moving up by 3 to 4%.
Right. Currently, the focus has been on affordable housing. Does that impact the prospects of luxury housing in Bangalore?
No. How does it? I mean, it's like saying, does a small car impact the sales of large luxury cars? These are two different markets. India is a very large country. India is a home-starved country. There is a very large, latent, untapped, underserved market in affordable housing. A lot of the provisions that are coming out in terms of government interventions and regulations, new regulations on affordable housing is going to help this industry. But the Indian housing construction cycle is a 75 to 100-year cycle that is ahead of us. India's mortgage penetration as a percentage of GDP is about 10-11%. US is 100%. China is about 60%. So we have a good 75-year effort to make India fully housed. Right. So yeah, I mean, so these are two different markets. Affordable housing, a lot of work to be done. Luxury housing, in terms of quality, in terms of Indians' preference for finer things in life, are growing up as they travel more and see better things in life. So these two are independent markets, and both will do substantially well for themselves.
But would you agree that there's always been a gap when it comes to demand? There's always been a gap in a ratio when it comes to demand for affordable housing and luxury housing.
Gap in demand, as in the demand is low or the demand is more?
I mean, demand is more for luxury housing, and of course for more for affordable housing and less for luxury housing.
Oh, no. The demand for both segments. I mean, the great Indian middle class, the great Indian upper middle class is a very large segment. That's the one which is consuming luxury today. It's not so much the uber rich. The uber riches are not necessarily the ones who are consuming Indian housing. They're probably consuming international housing. They're consuming housing in London and Dubai and New York and so forth. But it's the large, fat Indian middle class which is consuming luxury housing today. there is never a shortfall of demand there. Yes, it does go through what we know as consumer confidence issues periodically. Well, that's how all commodity cycles are. In equity markets goes through up and down. The gold goes through up and down. So does real estate. It does have its cycles, but it's never because of demand. It's because of consumer confidence in things that are happening around you, in terms of the economy, in terms of what are the government interventions. How is the tax regime? How is liquidity? How are the interest rates? These are the things that affect, and not so much the demand part.
Right. Are buyers really looking for under construction property or ready to move in properties?
In recent times, we've seen a far greater clamor for ready to move in homes. That's also because supply of ready to move in homes has also become that much more larger, and hence choice is available for consumers of ready to move in homes. Yes, so we are seeing a little more uptake, but the charm for under construction homes will always be there, because it gives the consumer the time to plan their purchase over the 3 to 4 year time period.
Right. So are end users buying, or investors or investors, or both? If both, so what is the percentage do you see in your projects when it comes to buying a property?
Well, the southern market and markets like Pune are largely end user market. Now, I've been with Puravankara for about 5 years, and there's not more than a handful of transactions where I've seen a single buyer buying three or more homes. Much of the southern market, like Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune, these are all driven by the requirement for the first home, or at max an upgrade home. So these are all end user driven markets, so much more stable.
So since festival is around, it's almost over though, but are really buyers looking for special discounts or offers during this time?
Well, Neha, I was just telling somebody the other day, I think festival, I mean, there's a big cultural shift that has happened over the last 10 years in India. I don't think these days buyers actually come out and buy a high involvement product like a car, a home during festive periods. I think most of them want to spend quality time with their families, step out, go out to another city, spend time with relatives and so on. So we are not seeing any spikes or downturns during any period of a 12-month calendar. We are in fact seeing more steady state sales happening. I think the festive purchases are more for mobile phones and low involvement products, clothing, jewelry. That's where we see spikes happening. Real estate has become a more steady state affair, where month on month X number of new buyers come in, and out of that we get a market share and somebody else gets a different market share.
Right. Does the stage of livability of the locality matter when it comes to sales? If there is a future potential in the locality, are consumers buying?
Well, it depends on affordability. Future potential is locations are more for affordable homes. The Provident brand does a lot of business in emerging locations, but luxury housing is more in stabilized markets.
Right. But I actually asked about does the stage of livability of the locality matters when it comes to sales?
It does, doesn't it? I mean, it matters more for luxury. For premium affordable, for the affordable segment, they all have the ability to say, okay, I can afford this home now, but I'm sure this social infrastructure around this place, the livability index of this place becomes better in the next 4 or 5 years, by which time I will probably move in.
Right. Okay, my last question to you, Mr. Narayanan. Please tell us to our consumers out there that why they should buy North Bangalore. Give us 5 points that why they should consider North Bangalore as the destination for a home buy.
Well, I don't need to say 5 things. I keep telling everybody just one thing. Not buying is probably the biggest mistake that anybody can do in real estate, because you can never go wrong in buying. You can go wrong in not buying. And we all know that that the real estate market has largely been has not seen any price appreciation over the last 2 years, 1.5, 2 years. Every buyer out there in the market knows. I don't need to tell them that it's a good time to buy. Everybody knows that it's a good time to buy. Nobody catches the bottom. Nobody catches the bottom in equity markets. Nobody catches the bottom in real estate. Okay, as long as you feel that there is value, as long as you read Magicbricks, as long as you read the content in Times of India and other fine media houses, all of them are saying that there's great value out there. Okay, so do not do the mistake of not buying. Go there and commit yourself to the purchase. Interest rates are low, and North Bangalore today is a zone which is going to see development and population concentration happening in the next 7 to 10 year cycle. So it's a great place to go and great time and great place to go and buy.
I thank Mr. Narayanan. Thank you, Mr. Narayanan, for joining us today. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, Neha.
With that, I would like to thank you, viewers. Thank you, Mr. Anand Narayanan. Thank you, Neha, for your time and for participating in this webinar session. Viewers, please keep posting your queries at the Magicbricks Real Estate Forum and get it answered by our experts. The website will be www.magicbricks.com/forum. You may also write to us at editor@magicbricks.com. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.